Subpoenas and more informal requests for documents and testimony are flying out of the House. Some of the folks are in the executive branch, but some, like Rudy Giuliani, is not a member of the executive branch. So, does someone like Rudy have any grounds to refuse to comply based on executive privilege? The answer is almost certainly no. Rudy is not a member of the executive branch. So does he have grounds to object based on attorney-client privilege? Probably not. Rudy Giuliani may be a lawyer, and he may be the president's personal lawyer. That means he's not a member of the executive branch. In addition, attorney-client privilege is very narrowly construed. Number one, you have to be providing legal services. Number two, if there's a third party who can hear these services, then you've just defeated attorney-client privilege. It's only between the attorney and his or her client. Even though Rudy is a lawyer, if he's not providing legal services, then attorney-client privilege can never apply.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.